Hey guys, today's video I guess I'm gonna talk about why and how I overanalyze everything. More so how, because personally I don't really know why. Probably some deep-seated mental issues, but we don't worry about that. But pretty much what I'm talking about is just the very extreme levels that I'll overanalyze a lot of very mundane things. There's some things I'll call it overanalyze that it's good. There's, I guess, positive things to overanalyze. For example, when I'm doing homework, if I get like in the zone and really into a problem when I'm doing homework, I'll spend hours on that homework assignment truly understanding it and getting deep into it and things like that. And sure, that might not be the absolute best use of my time, but at least it's productive and I'm really learning from that homework. For example, I had a class, I guess it's about a year ago now, that was all about designing reinforced concrete structures. And I took the time to make an Excel sheet that kind of solved the equations for me and stuff. And it made my life easier for a lot of this semester. I did a similar thing last semester with steel design structures, made Excel sheets and stuff that solved the problems I was working on and stuff. And it took me a lot more time overall to make those Excel sheets work well and adjust them and all that than it would have to just do the problem each time by hand. Also, since it's homework, I had to kind of rewrite out all the steps anyway, but the Excel sheet kind of helped me along the process. So that's an example of kind of a positive way I've overanalyzed, overthought things. Other aspects where I consider them positive overanalysis is the news. Once I'm interested in a topic, I'll usually spend upwards of at least an hour researching that topic. For example, the coronavirus thing that's happening in China and recently came to America. I spent at least an hour last night and a little bit this morning really looking into where it came from, why it happened, how it's spreading, how likely it is that it will become a true pandemic kind of event, the possibilities of it becoming an apocalyptic event, that kind of stuff. Obviously, the reality of the situation is I absolutely cannot do anything about it, so the point of analyzing it is mundane. But it's still, I believe, a positive thing whenever you're learning about a topic that is very relevant or can be relevant to your life. And then another way I would call positive overanalysis is the way I do fantasy football. I spend far, far too much time on fantasy football, and I recognize that. But at the same time, it does help me be very successful. Personally, I'm against betting as much as physically possible. I don't get a lot of joy out of winning bets, so I figure there's no use in wasting the money. There's also so many free options when it comes to fantasy football, so I try to truly minimize how much money I spend on fantasy football. But when I overanalyze it and make sure that I really understand things. When I make my decisions, it's very, very infrequently that I look back on the decisions I make in fantasy football and go, oh, I didn't think that through properly. Usually it's things I make a decision, I look back and I say, going back, knowing the information I know now, I probably still would have made that decision. There's no way I could have guessed what was going to happen. So those are all, positive ways I would say overanalyze things. Then there's a middle ground, like ways that I analyze things where it's not necessarily bad, but probably not good, not super productive. Some examples of this is I spent 30 minutes this morning with a calendar kind of counting how many days I have left until the end of the school year, comparing that to how many meal swipes I have at my dining hall, figuring out a guesstimate of how many days I won't need to go to the dining hall for food. For example, when I go home for the weekend, when I'm going to be able to get lunch at an event that's run by the campus, things like that. So I spent 30 minutes on that at least and just came to the conclusion that I have 80 swipes. There's 100-something days in a year, probably like 115 days in a year. So mathematically, I should need to skip 2 meals a week from the dining hall, like do 2 meals probably weekends in my dorm or buying food, that kind of thing. I already knew that. I just wanted to do the math to see how true that was, or if I could do like 1 meal, do 6 meals a week instead of 5 meals a week, that kind of thing. And no, I need to skip 2 meals a week. And I already knew that, so it was a waste of time. But I guess overanalyzing it didn't hurt, but definitely, like I said, not super positive. On a similar note, when I moved into school, I was unpacking my stuff and I realized I didn't pack as much underwear and socks and just clothes in general that I expected. So I was doing the math to figure out like how many days do I have at school and stuff until I like go home to do laundry kind of thing. Because usually I bring enough clothes that I could wait until I go home to do laundry, or I only have to do laundry like once before I go home, that kind of thing. But I brought like half as much socks and underwear and that kind of stuff as I expected. So theoretically, I should need to do my laundry 2 to 3 times at least before I go home. So I wanted to do the math of if I could stretch that out a little bit, depending on, you know, my physical activity and stuff. Probably not, because I like to change my clothes every day, basically. Or if it would be positive for me to just go buy more socks and underwear rather than spending the money to do my laundry. And ultimately, I'm talking about the difference between my laundry. It cost me $3 to do laundry. The cost it would be for me to get more socks and underwear is obviously more than that. Like, that part would make no sense. It was just kind of a waste of time to figure all that out when I could have very easily just worn my clothes like I normally wear it. And when I'm running out of clothes, I do my laundry. That's how I feel most normal people would approach things, is just deal with it when it comes. Same thing with the meal swipes. I could just use meal swipes whenever I want and buy food whenever I want. And then when I run out of meal swipes, I'll just buy all my food. It's not going to be that big deal for me if I did things that way. But I decided to overanalyze things. I also do the same thing whenever I shop and stuff, which I guess you could lean on the positive side. But a lot of times when I really go deep into like a price analysis when it comes to like shopping like an Amazon product, I go way overboard. And I'm talking about the difference of $5. For example, I bought a food scale that I didn't think I really needed, so I dragged my feet on it for 2-3 months before I said, you know what, this product costs $9, let me just get it. I was thinking about it once or twice a week for 3 months, and at that point, like, the amount of time I was spending thinking about, oh, should I buy this, should I not, just to buy it was such a small investment. And then also, even with that, I was looking at different scales, what the pros and cons were, how accurate the scale was and all that, when realistically, like, it doesn't matter for me. I knew I was going to round up to the nearest 5 or something probably, so there's no point in me overanalyzing how accurate the scale is, what the max weight on it is, all that kind of stuff. I do a similar thing when I'm buying food in general. Like, there's a poke bowl place by me, which is like a sushi bowl place by me, that I love the food there. I would go there once or twice a week if I could, if that was an option for me. It's expensive. It's not super expensive, but it's more expensive than if I buy 2 quesadillas at Taco Bell, which is right on my campus, whereas the poke bowl place is a 10-15 minute walk, or I have to order on Uber Eats, which is extra money. But little things like that, again, I'm talking about the difference of $5, maybe $7 if I decided to order it on Uber Eats. Like, realistically, I recognize that that price difference isn't enough for me to be spending so much time thinking about these things and analyzing whether it's worth the cost and stuff, but I do it over anyway because I overanalyze everything. So I talked about the good, I talked about the middle ground of not bad, but I would also want to classify it as good. But then there's times where I'll overanalyze things to the point where it's like not harmful, but not positive, like bad. It's bad. So a big example of this, which I'm trying to change very recently, is whenever I pick movies and TV shows and podcasts and YouTube videos, all that, I would spend so much time picking which one was the highest priority, which one I should watch first, which ones I wanted to watch first, looking through all my options and stuff. And I would spend half an hour doing that. I would go through Netflix for half an hour just looking at these shows, reading about it, going on IMDb, seeing how they ranked, listing a bunch of them and deciding which one was ahead of which other ones. And it was psychotic. Like, it was just way, way too much. So recently I've really been trying to use random number generators to kind of pick which things I should watch first. Or I've been asking friends, I'll be like, here's my IMDb list, pick a show on here, you have 10 minutes, go. And they do a much better job than me of picking things out. And I just say, you know what, fine, I'll trust it. Sent my list to one of my friends. They said, oh, you got to watch Hotel Transylvania. I never wanted to watch Hotel Transylvania. It was on my list because someone told me, and I'm big on adding anything that someone tells me to my list. I watched it. I enjoyed it. I watched all of them because, again, I overdo everything. So I watched all 3 Hotel Transylvanias in one night. Not a good use of my time, but not a bad show. And then I did the same thing. One of my other friends said, gotta watch the Chernobyl series. I've been meaning to watch the Chernobyl series. Been dragging my feet because I don't really like documentaries. And they said, don't worry, it's not really a documentary. It's a more cinematic thing. It's not documentary style with interviews and all that. Watched it. It was great. 9 out of 10 kind of thing. But like I was saying, the point of this is that me overanalyzing when I used to pick my shows, or I still do at times for sure, just is not worth the time I'm wasting. In that time I'm wasting, I could very easily be doing literally anything else. Another thing that's always been rough for me that I need to improve upon before I start any kind of video gaming is that when I play video games, I am very methodical and regimented and overthink every aspect of that video game. For example, if I'll play one of those mobile games where they have like the energy timer where like you could play, each round costs 3 energy points, you have 10 energy points, and then it takes an hour for your energy to restore, that kind of stuff. I will set timers on my phone to tell me when my energy has restored and things like that, or when it's about to restore, when there's events in the game that are about to run out, all those kind of things. Also like timers and reminders and stuff so I can maximize how many times I'm playing that game. And then if the game has like a shop where you like buy characters and stuff, I'm thinking of Madden primarily right now. The Madden mobile game has, you could buy characters in the shop and stuff. So I'll do a price analysis where I'll compare the points I'm getting per dollar on this player and the different attributes of the player and stuff. When realistically, it's a game that's so scripted and so minute in life that the point of me wasting all that time figuring all these things out is absolutely useless. And I do it to the point that I'm no longer enjoying the game. It's more like a job of me figuring out all the numbers and crunching the stats and data on it, which is ridiculous. And the last thing that I'm going to top this show off with, it's going to be a dark note, but if I spend too much time in my own head, I'll overthink just my life in general. I will sit in my bed and think about, I'll start overanalyzing like the fact that I haven't had anyone text me in the X amount of time, and I'll be in the middle of January and I'll go through my birthday on Facebook and see how many people each year have actually like acknowledged my birthday on Facebook, because I compare it to other people with their birthdays and all those really stupid kind of things that 9 times out of 10, I couldn't care less. I don't use Facebook. I never expect anyone to say anything on Facebook, but I'll get in my head sometimes and just be like, wow, like this person has over 100 people every single year on their Facebook or Instagram or wherever the heck it is, wishing them a happy birthday with these long 50-page stories about like their friendship and stuff. And I have never had that kind of thing. And I genuinely don't care. Like right now, I don't care about that. But there are those times I'll get in my head and overanalyze it to the point where like I want to throw myself out a window just because it's just drives me nuts. And it's those kind of things that the overanalysis that I do on things is just terrible. And I recognize if you're watching this video and you have any like mental health expert experience kind of thing, you are looking at me and you are saying, wow, this person needs therapy. And you're probably right. Not going to do that anytime soon, but we're going to ignore that. Luckily, don't plan on sharing these videos really anytime soon. I should, probably not going to. Now that I've done this video, definitely going to need to bury these YouTube videos for at least a couple, probably a week or two before I even consider starting to share them. In any case, I've definitely rambled on this topic too much. I've left it on a dark note, so why not just wrap it up here? I'll be back tomorrow with another episode, so I'll see you all then.